Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of STG Weekly, and we are here covering Strikers 1945-2 with my co-host Gigi Maximo.
What is up, everybody?
And our expert guest and the innovator or inventor of the Strikers 1945-2 episode is Meriscan. So yeah, welcome in, Meriscan.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Good intro, right? So we got the 2-all run from Y.Saito here that we'll be checking out. And right now on the demonstration, we got our good friend Airpo's 2-all, but we won't be talking about his run. But he's provided a nice quality run for us, so we got that going. But yeah, Meriscan. So what brings you to help us cover Strikers from 1945-2, or what's your history with the game, or however you would like to talk about Strikers with us?
Well, I'm just endlessly fascinated by this game. I've been playing it for years now, and I thought it would be really fun to kind of explain most of the details I know about this game now. That wouldn't maybe be like all too fun to read in like a wiki format, but like with a replay, someone explaining it, I think would be most enjoyable for most people. Because I think this is actually a game most people would like if they just knew a bit better of how to play it. Survival or scoring wise. So I was hoping maybe I could inspire some people to play this, but also just be entertaining, because there's a bunch of like trivia and cool stuff about this game that's like, again, not really fit for a wiki, more of like let's just watch this together and see how it's played. But
right on. So you've been playing the game for years, huh? That's pretty sweet.
Well, when I say years, I mean 2020, like around pandemic starting. So it's already 3 years ago now. So that's...
Yeah, for sure. That's a long time to play a single game.
Well, as soon as I said that, I was like, well, there's some people who've been playing this game for 20 years. I'm also one of the persons who will be viewing a video from has been playing this game for like a insane amount of time. So I don't want to mislead people that I'm like a grandpa with this. But I've been playing this game a lot, and I love
That's
it.
cool. I'm glad you're still into it and you want to talk about it with us. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the thing about these shmups. Like, you don't, it's just a shmup, right? It's like 20 minutes, but you end up playing them for years because the gameplay and just it's so addicting. And it's always cool to see people get into the games in that manner.
Yeah, this game has a lot of depth to it that you wouldn't necessarily expect from it when you're getting into it. Like I think, well, I didn't start like super passionately, but I was like, oh, this is a fun game to clear. Then I kind of was like, oh, this is it's not too difficult, let's try to go for a 2-all, and then you find yourself in like a rabbit hole of like, oh, this is cool, and then you just learn more about it, and it's just really fun.
I think the Strikers games, that's like the marquee Psikyo shmup titles, right?
Yeah, like not very difficult to get into, but they are very addicting, to me at least, and very quickly you'll realize just how far people have taken these games. Like the Strikers games in particular have like insane optimization in like their world records, and they're not just popular in Japan. Like I know the Chinese love Strikers as well. There's like the world record for Strikers 99 this week was beaten by a Korean guy, HJ.
Damn.
So there's a lot. There's a lot of history, a lot of competition.
Oh fuck!
Korea bringing it. I don't rank myself amongst these people, but it's insane to see how advanced the play is in some of these games, and that's mostly what inspired me. It's crazy. But without rambling on too much about that, it's we'll be watching today. Or should I get into it now, or like what we're about to watch?
Yeah, sure. I was just gonna make a couple comments here and there, but because that was a pretty good rant. But I was just gonna say, Strikers is that popular series, and so this is the tagline on the arcade flyer. This great shooting, I think it's Strikers 1945-2. It says, this great shooting game with its amazing long-term popularity has been renewed and revived for today. It's like they already knew that Strikers 1 was a big hit for them, and they're just like,
it's insane.
Yeah, I guess.
They already knew. I guess the first big game must have been really popular. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, because like, well, in America, like, that's along with the ride-in cabs and like the ride-in fighters, like, Strikers was the other cab I saw a lot. and it's like,
Yeah.
it is like that game.
I would say that too, because I had no like people in my friends list who were like played Strikers 45, 2, and 3 in like local cabs back in the day. So
And I don't know if it was the case in the 90s, but I know this is a popular game for like random arcade stuff because the boards are insanely cheap for most Psikyo games. Well, when I say insanely cheap, I mean like 150 compared to like cave PCBs, which are like 1,000 now. So it's like,
Yeah.
we can buy like 3 Strikers boards for the price of like 1 Donpachi or something like that. So it seems to be popular for that reason. And like I don't live in a country with a lot of arcades, but so they buy usually just like a lot of cheap ones on like Pac-Man stuff. But they'll always have like Strikers or other Psikyo games there. Probably for one of the reasons I just mentioned. Yeah.
And yeah, I also want to comment. You're talking about like how the record's been being beaten, and that's kind of inspiring. And yeah, it's really interesting because Strikers 2 is from 1997, so yes, there are players in Japan who have been playing Strikers 1945-2 since 1997.
Yeah.
But then it's like on the other side of things, just it almost like the time doesn't matter. It's just a matter of like who really picks it up and like really discover and has like a new eye to discover some new strats and stuff. And you can have someone who's only played the game for 2 years like come in and just break a record out of nowhere because they found out something. So it's just, I don't know, I just find that to be kind of fascinating with some of these games nowadays.
It is really fascinating to me too. We'll talk about more about the optimization in this game. It will be really visible when we start watching how like a professional plays this. But
okay, cool. Well, let's get ready to watch the replay then, shall we? It is a 2-loop run. So.
Yeah, well, you should start watching it. I guess to preface a little bit about the basics of how scoring works in this game. We won't see it right away, but the most important aspect probably is getting high value medals in this game. They are displayed as like bars that kind of fill up, and then when they shine brightest, that's when you want to pick them up. It's like a window of, I think I measured it was like 9 frames to get it. It gives you 2,000 points if you pick it up then. But there are a lot of these throughout the game, so you want to be picking up as many of those as possible. Besides that, there's a couple of other important tricks like milking bosses for extra Zako, keeping them alive until the last moment, and other smaller stuff that I will get into as the game starts showing itself, because it's easier to explain then. But there's a lot of smaller tricks that will be really important for high scores in this game.
Okay, awesome. So, what is the run exactly here? I see it's by Y.Saito. What else can you tell us about it as we get ready to start watching it here?
The fact that we can even watch this run is pretty insane. This run was the world record for over 10 years for this game. For
wow.
Flying, well, in overall actually for every ship, but the Flying Pancake was considered the best. It got beaten in like 2013 by someone who played a different ship. I can't remember which one now. But this one is a lot of historical significance. And
wow.
Y.Saito is a lot more active online now, it seems, because he's been starting to upload his old replays, including this one. His old Lightning world record is on his channel.
Yeah.
Too. But he started sharing these.
Yeah, I like that these players are starting to like come out of their shell and just post stuff on the net, because it's like the culture back then seemed like kind of like it's hard to find this stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's just nice that these players are coming out and doing that. But awesome, yeah, it's really cool about this run. 10 years.
Yeah. I will be hearing more about this guy later, because he is still active and still playing actively. Well, that's like a little thing. He's also the one that did the Stunfest run a couple of years ago, if anyone's seen that.
Nice.
Well, yeah, I recommend you watch it at some point. It's a really good run. But this one is the one of the highest scoring replays with the ship. That's also like okay video quality. It's kind of hard to find really top tier replays for this game with like really good quality. I think this is also good in betweener. Like it's I think most people won't be bothered by it, and it's a really impressive display of skill. So that's why I picked this one.
I'm looking forward to it. Sweet. All right,
But there
let's.
are.
Oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
let's start.
Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, but there are, if you want to watch some higher replays, there's on the ShmupWiki, we have or we are actively like in the video ad index, sorry, like updating the Strikers 2 page. Right now, there's already
Awesome.
like hundreds of runs. If you want to look at some more that are higher quality, but this one I think is the best to explain kind of the scoring tricks and how this game really works. I think it'll be fun.
Very cool. Yeah, definitely check out the ShmupWiki people, because yeah, we got some great. You got great resources there for videos on doing high score runs and stuff, and you'll just be able to go over there and see what the hell the game you really like is about as far as scoring goes. It's awesome. Let us begin the run.
Right.
All right, I'm gonna count us in, and it'll be on go. Are you ready, Maximo?
Yep, I got it up.
Awesome. All right. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Like I said, there were a couple of ships in this game, but the Flying Pancake is the one we'll be seeing today, mostly. It's not the highest damage one, but it has a very fast movement, it's the second fastest, and it has a homing option, or a shot, I guess, secondary shot. That will be very useful in the later stages.
Some solid attributes.
Yeah, it's not really the greatest ship to recommend if you're just going for like a one loop clear, but it makes the second loop with the, well, spoilers, revenge bullets a lot more consistent if you can shoot them at any point from anywhere. Gives you a lot of control of the ship. So we'll be seeing a lot of point blanking too of enemies, because otherwise you don't deal as much damage. But if you're an expert player like this guy, you just know exactly when to be where and how to do stuff. Important, I should explain this right now. If you are below 2 power levels, the game will start giving these. Do you see these like planes of red and blue ships? The red ones always drop a power-up item, and when you're low enough on power, the game will start spawning these. So he on purpose started to hit himself against enemies to lower his power level, to spawn more of these enemies. It's a trick you see in a lot of Psikyo games. You don't actually die if you collide with an enemy, but you do lose a power levels. But so to spawn extra enemies right before like an empty section, they hit themselves intentionally to spawn more enemies. But there's a bit of nuance to the trick more, but I'll get a better opportunity to explain it later when it's a bit less hectic. But yeah, we're at the first boss already. It's a very fast game. It's he gets to like this phase, and you'll see he'll start to wait it out a bit. Just when there are enemies on screen, he kills them as quickly as possible, because as soon as the last like Zako enemy or popcorn enemy, the smaller enemies, are off screen, in a second a new wave will spawn. So it's important for him to kill them quickly to get more of them, basically. Because the boss in this game time out really quickly. You'll see you'll not waste too much time on this, and he's already killed it because he would have timed out in like 2 seconds, basically.
Nice.
That's how a lot of the bosses go in this game. We'll wait them out until the last moment and then survive the balance for very long. Right here, this is where the medals are. It's not really, maybe this is the one like big downs of the replay. You can't really see it, but they glow from left to right until they're like, the medals, the bars. When they're like fully shining, that's when you want to pick them up. It's not too difficult if you get the timing down. It takes a bit of practice. It took me, well, I can tell you, it took me quite a bit of time to really get used to picking them up at the correct time. But doing the same stage over and over again, you'll find this yourself giving you enough time to really time those well. Something I should explain, I probably should explain this at the start, but in this game, compared to the previous Strikers games or any Psikyo game, you have a meter at the bottom left that fills when you damage enemies, basically. Once you, like right now it says level 1 at the bottom. That means if he holds his button, we'll do a charge attack. It's like a, in the case of Pancake, it's not that like flashy. It's basically like a line attack that deals a bit of damage towards enemies. If he fills up the bar more, like twice more, he'll get a level 2 charge that will basically double his damage. It will do like 2 lasers from the sides of his ship. If he gets a level 3, and this is really interesting about this ship, he'll like his basically like the whole ship will become a giant laser that also makes the ship invincible for like I think it's like 8 seconds, something like that. And he'll be
Damn.
abusing this in the second loop quite a lot. It's very good if you wanna get like optimal scoring. It doesn't actually get used too much in the first loop because just using the charges is really necessary to kill enemies quickly and get more enemies. So it's not always optimal to do it, but for certain sections, and you'll see when we get there, it's really fun how, like, what's supposed to be a really difficult section, he's like, I'm just gonna kill everything and not get hit. The lightning also has a similar level 3 charge, but in most cases, level 3 is just a really powerful weapon to deal with enemies quickly. But that's why you basically like he'll constantly use his charges basically whenever he's in the stages, because killing enemies quickly in a lot of cases will spawn more enemies during the stages because the game doesn't want you to be bored basically. I think that's what they were thinking.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's kind of like older shmups would do the same thing too for certain fights.
Yeah, they did. That's a good. Well, I was going to say, in a couple of seconds we'll see a brown plane on the top right here. You see? Oh, I guess it's green in this replay. But like he's killing them quickly right here because he can spawn a third one right here if he kills the first two quickly. These are worth like 800 points, but he basically does this throughout the whole game with certain enemies. Like he will kill them quickly so they spawn more of them, so he gets more points. And it gets well, now we're still in the first few stages, so it's kind of like, well, whatever, he just kills them quickly. But later he's gonna have to do some like real dodges and do some really good timings and just have a really good route to really optimize how many he can kill at once. I still can't do a lot of the stuff he does in this replay. It's takes a lot of practice.
Yeah, that's the thing with Psikyo games is they always get like crazy ass hard at like stage 5 or whatever.
Yeah, that's very true. Sometimes people already start feeling the difficulty in 4. Actually, that's one thing I should mention. In all Psikyo games, the first 4 stages aren't set in stone which ones you're gonna get. They're randomized which ones you get. Mm-hmm. He doesn't get the... Like, if you play the main and if you keep hard resetting, you'll get a different stage order than he gets right here. This would be the second stage, actually.
Yep.
But this is... like, there are certain stage orders that are slightly more beneficial for scoring. He actually gets the best one, I'm pretty sure, in this run. But we're talking about a difference of, like... 5,000 points maybe at the end of the run. It's not something that's I think people reset over in these games, but you can just I think in my opinion it makes the games a bit more or less repetitive, right? Like the stage 1 might be different each time, so it feels a bit more fresh to do attempts, a bit more addicting, if you ask me too.
Yeah,
but
this boss looks really fun.
It does. Like this guy's already much more difficult than his stage 2 variant. But indeed, it's like a little boat that kind of like wobbles around. In general, I think they kind of had a lot of fun with the boss in this game. Like they're a bit like this is I think their first game where they used like the pre-rendered 3D graphics. So they got a bit more fancy with the animations than they could in maybe like the older pixel art games. Or like the real pixel art, if you know what I mean, where it was a bit more limited what they could display.
Right.
Like the boss in this stage is we'll spoil it, it's going to be like a train, but he basically like hops around from like rail track to rail track. I think it's a really funny way of making the boss a bit more dynamic looking.
Oh shit! Okay.
We'll see more about it in a second.
The boss is a train.
Well, first it's a train, then it becomes a robot. That's
okay. Hell yeah!
Like the last one, I'm pretty sure it was a boat, and it became like it grew an arm or something.
I wouldn't not believe it or anything, but yeah.
like here it is. Yeah, I think that's in the first 2 games.
Sweet.
It's like a
tank train.
Motif. Like first it's like a blip, then it becomes a mech or something. Like
and then
right.
The last entry gets kind of more out there. But
yeah. Yeah, the games get progressively more weird as they kept going on. I don't know if there was a Strikers 99 episode for this game. I know there was a Strikers 1 episode that I really loved watching. It's one of like the earliest ones, I'm pretty sure. It was like it was a video.
Plasmo's cab.
Recorded his cab.
Yep. Yeah. We were commenting about the silliness. I remember too in that episode because it has that fucking like teddy bear dancing or something or whatever.
Yeah,
or maybe it was the alien.
Guy.
Yeah.
A guy in a trench coat.
So fucking random.
I have to say, this game doesn't have anything as crazy, but I do like the creativity they come up with for some of the bosses. Right now we're entering like stage 1-5. Already, I don't know how interesting this is for most people, but like the score he has, like 600, like anything over 630,000 is insane. It's basically optimal for the games like this. I think my best is like 610 or something. It's like basically at this point he's mastered the early stage, and I think he just wants to get to the later stages as quickly as possible. Yeah, I have to assume that at least. But here you really have to, like, he's sealing some of these turrets. Like he gets close to them so they don't shoot anymore. But the stages here get a bit more. You have to really learn what the game expects you to do. Otherwise, they'll be like, oh, here's 3 turrets all shooting at you right now, and they all have a lot of HP. So I hope you have a bomb ready at hand. But it's already over. Like this is actually a really important section for score. This is like the turret wall. The things he's killing right here at the top, they're all worth 4,000 points each time you kill them, and they keep respawning the more you kill them. So you can kind of see he's like really riskily sitting next to these as they are shooting at him, like quickly tapping out the way as soon as he's about to get like trapped by them. This is really scary to do in an actual run, in my experience. Like I usually don't get up close this much. But he does it like pretty much perfectly here. He gets like 16 kills, I think, which is insane. Certain other stronger ships can get even more, but this is pretty much optimal for this ship.
At this high level of gameplay level, you see those kind of strats look easy, but they're hard. But they're hard as shit.
Well, actually, I don't even think it looks easy. Like he gets so close to dying so many times.
Yeah.
He kills like the claws of the Scorpion ship to milk it some more. This is actually kind of annoying. The popcorn enemies here, they're either in like a 5 formation or a 2 formation or a 3 formation. It's completely random how much score you get here. Like you either can get really lucky or kind of unlucky. But it doesn't really happen throughout much of the game, but here it does. The 6-stage mission 6 is pretty unique. They've got, do you see these houses? Okay, well, he destroyed one here, but the thing, like the house he just destroyed, is actually the most dangerous enemy in the game if he doesn't kill it in time. It shoots an enormous barrage of bullets that you'll see in the second loop. Because he needs to save charge there. It's a really mean beginner trap, I think, because nobody expects like the scenery to start attacking you so viscerally. But,
yeah, I remember that being the case for this for Eternity.
I've watched a couple of people play this game blind on Twitch or via Discord. It's always really funny to me when the least suspecting enemy shoots like this insane pattern at you. But he's fixed it now. We're getting already to the mid-boss here. Like you can see these 2 things on the side that keep shooting. I don't know what they're meant to be, but they alternate between shooting directly at you in a way, but there's also the middle turret that keeps shooting at you, so you have to kind of dance around here and really know the pattern of how to stay here safely. You can milk the boss here a little bit, but importantly, right here he's gonna try to hit the enemies again, or like take damage and power down, because during this boss you'll see more of like him taking damage intentionally to spawn more enemies.
There was that level 3 shot we were talking about earlier, I think.
That was still level 2.
Oh, it was? Looked like you went through that and bullet or something.
There's a safe spot there in the middle. I don't know why they made it. They all shoot away from you, but that was. You'll see level 3 when it happens. It's very visually striking. Right here, like the boss, you can one into it to keep taking. Like powering down, so you see like he grabs the item, takes a hit, has to make sure he doesn't get actually hit by any of the attacks, then he just keeps doing that for Like I think it's like 3 attack cycles basically for this boss until it times out. This is one of those things that's a whole hell of a lot easier, well, a lot harder to do than it actually looks. It looks a lot easier, is what I want to say. Where the Zako come from, especially with this ship, is like you can go to the left or right side. It's really easy to get a bit too overconfident and go up the screen when you probably shouldn't be, staying safe.
Yeah.
And while he's still low on power, you'll actually see that he uses this. Like he gets hit here once more, and spawns a couple of enemies during the stages too. You'll see it later. It's a very high level play to basically still keep playing this stuff on low damage or like low power, because it makes the stages a lot more difficult. But it's very impressive to me anyway. We're already like up here. It's going to be a mid-boss. Which one you get is random. It's not like Strikers 1 where if you sit on a specific portion of the screen, you can determine which ones it will be. This one is like these two mid-bosses. It could either be like this green one or a yellow one. They're bosses from Strikers 1, but here they're just a mid-boss. And he got the best one. Like this one you can kind of kill the things that spawns for 200 points each. It's not a big difference at all, but I guess this one, if you had to pick, this one's slightly better. This section is infamous for people trying to get all the medals in time. There'll be a lot of stuff shooting at you, but you're still trying to get every one of these medals in time. It's really difficult. I'm still not very good at it, even after playing it.
That was a lot.
Yeah, you have to have impeccable timing and impeccable routing, basically, for this. Here, okay, I probably should explain. He's on level 1 power right now, but there's a couple of power-ups flying on the screen, which means that the game will not send any like these blue plane waves. These are because he is on low power, but they don't have like a red ship at the end that will give you another power drop. They're just some extra points, as long as he doesn't pick those up. Okay. This is like the only spot in the game where this actually happens. Usually it won't spawn the entire wave, but I think I have no idea why they did it like this. But it's a non-one. We're already on the 7th boss. This one's also pretty infamous because of how easy it is, actually. I've heard many people say they find this boss easier than the stage 1 boss. It's it's only like, it looks a bit busy, but it's just a lot of tapping. If you actually practice this boss, I think you'll agree with that this one's actually not too difficult at all. It's literally 2 safe spots and it's already dead here. With the tank, it actually takes a while before you kill it. Usually you'll be dead already before he does like the missiles there. You have a bit of iframes when you spawn into the stage, so he uses that here to kill these turrets quickly. It's kind of good to know that you have iframes when you start at the stage, so you can kind of kill something really quickly. It's usually not that helpful, but here, if those turrets stay alive, then you're having a big issue. It's just a small thing to keep in mind. Here, you want to keep one of these turrets alive to get some medals here. If you kill the turret right there, it will go to the mid boss, but he gives himself a bit of extra time. Here too, he's still on low power, so he keeps getting hit, and so these red enemies keep spawning. They're all worth 1,000 points each, so this is pretty lucrative. He's just gonna keep doing this mid boss for a little bit, run into it, make sure not to get hit by its attacks, picking up the power up. It's actually really fun to do this. It's really hard to describe.
Yeah, I like these strats. They look like they're legit, like fun to do.
Yeah, you don't just sit at the back of the screen. You have to keep going up, keep picking up the medals, because you have to also keep getting hit. Like you have to walk into the mid boss to actually power down back again. This is probably one of the most fun parts for me. Was like to learn. And people find it like pretty impressive when they look at it too.
I mean, it looks like, they knew what they were doing with that scoring mechanic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is cool. Not just like, oh, you can leech points here because they forgot to do something with or whatever.
No, I'm pretty sure they knew exactly what they were doing.
Yeah, that looks really nice.
It's a really lucrative part too, so I'm pretty sure that they were fully aware. This is already the final boss. I feel like I haven't been rambling for 15 minutes, but I guess I have been. This one is, for many people, a pretty big wall when they start playing. Like, all of the bosses don't have like super sophisticated patterns, but this one, it really wants you to do it like one specific way. And if you don't do it, you're cooked. Essentially. Like when it moves here, I love this claw attack. It makes a really fun sound too.
It looks like it's gonna hit you every time he does that, but
yeah,
doesn't.
It doesn't. It's way more safe between the claws than it is outside. Like the pattern is pretty fast. I don't see anyone else do it differently. Yeah, this is it pretty much is all knowing exactly where to be to do something. There's actually a safe spot here for this ship. But he has to move a little bit, like right next to the bomb icon, you can line yourself up. This is really tight. I don't, like, even if it's a safe spot, I actually don't use this. Because being like a pixel or two off will kill you, and it's not fun to die here. Should we pause here? Like, this is the end of the first loop.
Sure.
He's done a 1-all. So I'm sure everybody, after hearing me talk for 20 minutes, we're going to explain something else. I don't know if you have the picture ready.
I do have the picture ready, and I have it up.
Okay. So the second loop is really okay. Well, it's a lot of people find them difficult for the revenge bullets that happen. Most of like the small Zako enemies, and there are a lot of them, will shoot revenge bullets at you as soon as you kill them. But I always hear people say like, oh, it's random which ones it does, like a two-way pattern or a one-way pattern. That's not the case. There's a bit of a formula to it. If you kill them, like at the top of the screen, like where the health icon is and like the ships that extends the score, if you kill an enemy there, it will shoot a pattern that's like 2 bullets, but they're always aimed around you. So that's really good for Pancake because he can kill a lot of the enemies when they're still in that zone if you just keep shooting. Then if you reach like the sector below, if you kill something, it will always shoot just 1 bullet straight down. Really, like these two are the most important things to know if you want to have like a good route for the second loop. It's like I only knew these 2 pieces of information, and I could get like a pretty good route, and I never really had to worry, oh, is this gonna hit me? Is this gonna hit me? I knew it wasn't gonna hit me, but if you go further down, then it gets a lot more chaotic. Then it starts shooting a single bullet still, but then the direction is going to be random. It could either be aimed directly at you, whether you're like right below the screen or at the top, it will just go directly for the play. It could shoot straight down, like the section above, or it could shoot like slightly off to where you are, but it's like the aimed around, so I linked it. But actually, important thing to note, that bullets that are aimed directly can go up the screen, but the bullets that are aimed around you will only ever go to the bottom. They will never go to the top. That's really important for like one specific trick that we'll see later. And then the lowest section is the same as the one above, except it either just shoots at you directly or slightly around you. There's no let's go straight down. It's a bit of an information overflow. That's why I tried to make this image to make it a bit more to make it a bit easier to explain.
Yeah,
really,
I mean,
the only thing
I've never seen the bullets broken down like this in a shmup before, but that's really cool though to see.
Yeah,
and to hear.
The two most important parts is if you kill at the very top, it will shoot around you, and then the section below, if you hit it there, it will just go down.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Most enemies will die.
Oh.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, most enemies will die right there. Sometimes if you notice it gets like below the screen, you have to be a bit more cautious. Like, okay, this could aim at me. Let's just be sure. I'll like tap a little bit around. But most enemies will die in like the top spots. So that's pretty. And there are some enemies that feel like there's like one specific Zako wave that they do like a crescent shape when they come down. They like to ignore these rules, and big enemies always shoot a 5-way pattern directly at you. No gimmick there. But most Zako, like most small enemies, will follow this formula. And I actually don't know if this works in other Psikyo games, like I've played Gunbird 2 and Strikers 1 also a lot, and there it just seems like there's no like easy rule set to follow. So that's
Okay.
one of the nicer things
Yeah.
about this game. It's a lot more
Oh.
predictable in what it's gonna do.
That's cool. Okay, it works differently than the other Strikers. Yeah, interesting.
Oh, absolutely. And in Gunbird 2, it's just a complete mess. I have no idea how it works at all. It's just there's no logic to it at all. But in this game, I use just the rules I just explained to mostly know when it's safe to shoot enemies and when I have to be cautious.
Cool.
I thought it was important to explain because I do keep hearing like, oh, it's random, but there is a trick to it, as you would expect. And
Yeah.
a lot
So
of the-
now we know,
well-
and now the free play will be more better to watch.
I
Go
do
ahead.
think for a lot of like the especially the what are they called, boss milks, it's important to know that if you just you can just keep shooting without being in direct danger.
Right.
But that's what I wanted to explain for a bit of context for the viewers here.
All right. Thank
What
you for
timestamp
that.
are you on right now?
Yeah. Let's start it at 20 minutes. Even.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. All right, I'm there right now.
Cool.
Same.
All right, I'll count us in again so we can watch the second loop of Y.Saito's Strikers 2 run. All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
I feel like I've been rambling a little bit too much. Do you guys have any
That's good. No.
opinions of the game so far? Like, yeah, just so it's not me talking.
Personally, for me, this is a game where I haven't spent a lot of time on it. I got to like 1-8, like that mid boss enemy there, an attorney, but I would like to invest more time in it since I feel like I'm at the point now where it's like my skill set has evolved where I could probably start making serious progress in these games.
Mhm.
It's just a matter of time and when.
Definitely. Like, I mean, I've seen like you've cleared some really hard shmups. I do think the average Psikyo tool is a bit overrated in difficulty. It really is a lot of like just knowing what to do and when to do it. That's not all of it, but
Yeah.
it's really important. Before I let you speak, Plasma, he's going to get a level 3 charge here because
Cool.
these turret walls are really, really rude, as you can see. They just keep shooting, and now he says "fuck you" to the game. I'm not dealing with this.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I use a different ship. I don't have the luxury of doing this. I had to come up with a really dumb route to get through this, like kill these as quickly as possible. But I love that he doesn't feel like doing it and just doesn't. He just kills them immediately. But that's a big spot for a lot of people who learn this game. Like, oh, how on earth do I do this?
We have one question from chat from Mutt saying, do you know if the power down actually lowers rank?
It does, but I do not recommend you power down on purpose for rank. Because if you are powered down, it quite actually severely impacts how much damage you deal. Like the bullets might be slightly slower, but you're also half as strong. So enemies will stay on screen for longer. And in general, I actually think it requires more routing to do it easily than to just have it at high power and dodge the bullets. That's my personal opinion. I know I've seen like a streamer, Lord BBH, he's done like a loop play of this game with like 2 power the whole way through. So it works for some people. I would not recommend doing it, but other people have had success with it. So it's clearly like a personal preference, from what I understand. But yeah, this boss, this is one of my favorites. Like it's so complicated what it wants you to do here, and he has to make sure that the suicide bullets don't get in the way of him, like what he wants to do here. It's I think this is also like a big wall for new players when they try to learn the second loop. This boss in particular is very, very mean in that it wants you to know exactly what to do in there.
Yeah, the speed of the bullets is insane there.
Mm-hmm. There's also one thing I didn't touch on. Like this guy has really good like damage control. The boss was about to time out there, and it would have cost him a lot of points because if a boss times out, you don't get any destruction bonus for it. If the boss had swooped down once more, he would just exploded and been like it's over.
Oh, yeah, right
So-
in your face, I guess. It's like the
Mhm.
pattern of faces.
Yeah, it deals like it shoots a pattern around the screen, and then it's already over. So a lot of the bosses, he basically kills he gets them down just enough to where they don't die, but they don't have like health bars in this game, so you kind of have to notice like how fast they're blinking and just have like a bit of an intuitive feel of like, okay, I think I should stop shooting now, basically.
Okay.
So let's see. Yeah, this boss, like this ship, like I don't know what you call it, like the lower side. He doesn't want to break it immediately because it will do a harder pattern than the one he's doing right now. You'll see it at the end, but it will do like a stream of bullets right here that just shoots down the whole time, and it really restricts, like right here, where you can go and where you can't go. So he basically waited until the end before he destroyed that part. Good to know. Okay, like this section, he's just gonna again leave it alive for as long as possible and just keep dodging. This pattern looks pretty insane. It kind of is too. It's just a lot of memorization here. There's another trick that players use nowadays. We'll get into it later, but during the bosses, there's like a scoring trick that wasn't used back when this world record was set, but is used now, where we have like a demonstration video for it after. But there's another reason why you would want to time out bosses, but he's not using it here. At the time, it was considered a bit too unsafe, I guess. This stage is kind of really annoying, in my opinion. There'll be like trains coming from around each side, big enemies, like the white planes that shoot like a wall of revenge bullets. So this really is the part where he used a lot of like his level 1 charge to just quickly get rid of something. Like right here, level 1 charge to kill that, level 1 charge to kill that. This one is a stage where you want to be very aggressive, or you get overwhelmed very quickly. A lot of like around the world strategies. Like,
nice.
I love this stuff. Like this house here in the middle, it just shoots relentlessly at you. Just kills it quickly by point blank.
Right. Yeah, I could see how that could snowball quickly if you don't kill it.
These big planes are also worth quite a lot, so he wants to like swoop around, kill another one. Like it's all very minor stuff to mention, but it's it goes a long way to really make an optimized score like this. You have to do like all these slightly hard tricks. This boss is ridiculous, by the way. This is one I still can't really reliably like do without bombs. Like this pattern, no idea how to like even. Well, sometimes the revenge bullets from the enemies just get in the way for what you want to do. Like you'll shoot them and then you'll go through like a gap, and then it's like, oh, there's something here right now. You have to bomb anyway.
Yeah.
This is this was probably the thing I spent, like the single save state I probably spent the longest on is this boss. It's like depends on even that sophisticated. It's just like that combined with the small enemies that are just everywhere, constantly shooting at you. That makes this pretty difficult, at least to me. Oh, and I like some of the solutions too here. Yeah, the going up right there. It's pretty cool. Oh,
Just
these like spinning
insane.
things. Yeah, these spinning things in the middle here are also worth like 1,000 points each. So that's something in the first loop that he wants to get as many of them as possible as well. We're already in 2-4 now, so this is the last of like the random stages that he can get in any order. This is the one with the funny boat boss we mentioned earlier, and this time he's even funnier and even longer. But we'll see when he gets there. It's also there's a couple of enemies here that you want to just take out as quickly as possible. Like I don't know if you see the turrets on these bosses, but they try to aim at you if you don't like hover over them and stuff. So this is also another stage like the last one where you want to be really, really aggressive. Oh, and these things, they have like no aiming ability. Like a true ult, like shoot 'em up, they basically aim somewhere in the vicinity that you are, but you can't just keep tapping. Like they'll just do like a 80% turn, and then they'll hit you anyway. A lot of, like I said, a lot of point blanking, killing things as quickly as possible.
Oh.
I mean, I find this really impressive no matter how much I watch it.
It's mesmerizing because you know every like few seconds it's like a planned little thing he's doing here and there.
And he's also still getting like all the 2K medals. I think that's like something people last optimize when they're learning this game. Is like first you make sure that you get through the game not really using too many bombs or lives, because at the end of the game there is I wouldn't say it's like a big bonus, but it's a sizable bonus for your lives and bombs that you have remaining. So it's something I see a lot of people optimize quickly. Like I think a full, if you've like 3 lives and 9 bombs, it's like 170k if I remember.
Oh,
It's like 20k per life, 10k per
Wow.
bomb, and then something else.
so last score comes from that too.
Yeah, it's not as ridiculous as the later games where they give you like 50k per bomb or something. Like Gumber 2 is ridiculous with this regard, and Strikers 99 as well. This game, it's a nice bonus. If you use a couple of bombs, it's not the worst part. It's like 40k that you lose or something, but it's still something that you want to at least try to preserve as much as you can. You don't want to just spend it all the whole time. That's all about the M bonus. It's a nice bonus, but not something you should worry about too much if you're just learning. It's fine. I'm trying to think if he is going to use level 3 charge soon, but I think it will be next stage that we'll be seeing one that's particularly insane to me.
Is the second loop like boss patterns? Are they like the same patterns as loop 1, just more dense and fast, or are they actually like kind of new?
Mostly they are just faster.
Yeah.
Some of them are a bit more dense, but not like that's not the big difference. The big difference is that they suddenly you can't really react to anything. It's really have to know like. Well, it's not just knowing the safe spots because, like I said, the Zaka will just mess it up for you.
Yeah.
Regardless of how much you've practiced it. So, one other game that I really like, Raiden 4. Like the boss patterns are pretty complex, but if you just know, oh, I need to tap here, I need to be in this spot here.
Yeah.
The game doesn't really have like an answer to you doing that. In this game, you have to keep being on your toes the whole time, regardless of how well you know what to do during the boss.
That does sound like a annoying X factor for sure.
I don't think it's annoying, actually. Well, okay.
Yeah.
It's, in my opinion, it's both a blessing and a curse. It makes the game not feel as static, like you have to keep being on your toes the whole time, which is a nice feeling.
Yeah.
But it's also sometimes you just want to do something. It's like, oh fuck, this guy is right in my way. But it's a bit of both sides. I quite like it, but so I've heard also some people say that the whole difficulty of the loop is like just these guys basically constantly messing up your plans, and they're not even like too wrong in saying that all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I heard people say the same thing about Strikers 1 as well.
Well, in Strikers 1, they're with this revenge bullets, they got a little bit more gentle as the games kept going on. But in Strikers 1, they're relentless. They are completely random. It's a 1, 2, 3-way shot, slightly aimed at you, slightly aimed around you. It's also we see the house here. I don't know if you kind of saw it there. But the houses have really funny patterns if you keep them alive. This one, the second one's a bit easier. You can misdirect it to go down, but I don't like. I don't see. Bosses don't even do that much. They shoot that many bullets. Some of these guys do. Interesting part here. Like I said, if you kill some enemies quicker, they'll spawn more enemies. But here he kind of keeps a couple of these like bigger ships alive, so they don't spawn more of them. Some of them. He still gets like 6 of them out of 8, but at some point he's like, I don't really feel like testing to see if I can get all of them.
Yeah, probably just for more consistency's sake.
It's a lot more consistent. Also, this is where Pancake really falls apart. He deals no damage to these things on the side. Just look at this. Like he has this insane plans that he has like completely memorized from start to end.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, like the thing in the middle, I think, who was it? I think I recorded how fast these bullets go, and I think it's the fastest pattern in the game, the one that did like the middle turret shoot, basically. Or it's like one of the fastest, it was like tight or something. It's it's level 3 again. These things, they shoot like a 5-way revenge bullet pattern here, so you can't really easily sit in the middle. So that's why he did that whole song and dance early. He wanted to save up a level 3 charge for after the mid boss, so he couldn't use charge to kill those things on the side quicker. That's why Pancake sometimes has it a little bit rough. Sometimes you're kind of forced not to use your charges, and then you realize, oh, I have no damage. I guess I'll have to do this for 10 seconds.
We haven't seen them use a single bomb yet, right?
Oh, we will not be seeing any bombs here.
No bombs.
This is, yeah.
We
This
want
was,
that score.
He wants that extra points, yeah.
Yeah.
This is I think it's I think every world record at this point is like a no miss no bomb, or if at least if I'm judging it from like the raw scores, I assume they get it just because of how high the scores are. But it took a while before people got to this level. I looked at the like on the ShmupWiki, it mentioned it again. Like there's the Hall of Records where you can see like the history of like each month when like a new one was updated. And even getting like 3.3 million, if I can verify, I think it took people quite a bit of time to even get there. Like it's not easy to just not use any bombs throughout this game because of the. Well, first of all, there's a bit of the random elements that we mentioned, but it's also just really difficult in general. I think he's saving up for now level 3 here, for after the mid boss. If you remember, like the sea of medals in the first loop that he was kind of trying to get all of them. In the second loop, it's completely impossible to just grab all of them at high values and still, not die or not use a bomb. So he just saves up level 3 here. I hate how he does this because Pancake is like deals so little damage. He has to go like very up close to this boss. I usually just sit at the bottom here. It's not a very difficult pattern, but it's so close, and if he just mistimes it a little bit, he'll die. But here he's like, nope, not gonna deal with this section. Just gonna kill everything here with level 3.
Wow. Yeah.
And makes easy work of it. He actually gets more score here than the first loop because he used the level 3. That's how good it is.
He's able to get all those 2K pickups. And that's nice.
Yeah, I love this, like the chaining sound that it makes, like the ding, ding, ding. It's very rewarding when you get all of them in a row. I also particularly like the way they do this part. This mid boss is a whole hell of a lot harder in the first or in the second loop than the first one because it keeps shooting little aimed bullets at you when you're just trying to stand still. Like, I don't know if you can kind of see it.
Yeah, I guess
this is. Oh, and the explosion it does there, that's completely random. It's one of the few really random patterns in the game. It's right until the end of the game too. That's one thing actually that kind of frustrated me when I learned this. Like the whole game, you can kind of learn at the end they have like this random explosion that can just either completely wall you or not. But luckily, I'm a bit better at it now than I used to be. 2.7 is largely actually unchanged. I don't think. Okay, well, there's like the bullets here during the laser attack now, but it's just a lot of safe spots for it. This boss is still considered one of the easier ones from any Loop 2 boss. So, because there's also no Zocco during this fight, so there's no risk of getting like a sniper bullet in getting in your way. And I think this will be the final level 3 charge that we'll see. He seals this guy, which is insane. Like these things shoot ridiculously close at you. Like if you even like a few pixels off, they'll shoot like a barrage of bullets at you. But he doesn't.
Wow.
Damn.
And there's like 2 additional of these like disc enemies too. Like these 2 were not in the first loop here, and they just come in and they just like kill any run basically.
Yeah.
So that's why he wanted the level 3 charge. We don't see any more of them, sadly, I believe, in this run. That was the last one. And he's ridiculous. Like he goes for the milk here too, in the Loop 2 version. And like this mid boss is a bit more souped up in the level like a Loop 2 version as well. Bolts are a lot faster. He does a few more like he does an additional attack too. That's a bit more random. Like this one, a bit faster. I find it ridiculous that he's like on the run of his life and he's still doing this part for like 10k points basically. That's real dedication. Probably also why it took like forever for someone to actually beat this score.
This is pretty good.
Yeah, I love watching this. I can't do this in a real run. Like I would be way too nervous at this point. Yeah, it gets fully back up to full level, max level, and this last section is not too difficult. A bit of he goes up. And down again, use level 1.
You could say he's going all the way.
He is going all the way. Yeah. The second loop final boss It's mostly just extra bullet speed. There's actually, I don't think any of the patterns have additional like bullet density. I think it's just
Yeah.
whole hell of a lot faster.
And that's nice because that means you've already learned them from the first loop, kinda, but then you're forced to know them by the second loop. Is basically what it is.
That's how I see it as well. Now that I think about it, I don't think there's literally a single more bullet. It's just, oh, well, you think you know this boss? Well, let's see it, and then it's just like twice as fast, basically. I really like that part. But I don't know if he's gonna use the safe spot again here. Well, he's trying to line up for it.
That looks
and
like a safe spot.
Got it. Yeah. Well, it doesn't look like one. He lines up a little like fin of a ship. I don't know what to call it, and then it's over. I don't do this. I actually prefer to dodge it. It feels more safe than just trying to get like this pixel perfect spot, basically. But yeah, 3.4 million. Mind blowing score for like 2001. I think this run was set. It was already like 4 years after the game was released.
Yeah.
Damn, yeah, that's cool. GG to that.
Wow.
And that's it. That's the run. I'm very thankful for this guy that he uploaded this. It's an insane watch. I would have assumed that he would never upload this like 20 years after it was recorded, but I think it's awesome that we could have said that we had like an opportunity to see like a bit of this game's history too. Like I said, it was a monumental score when it was set. So to actually have it be available for everyone to see, I think is really awesome.
That was really cool. Nice. So we got a little bit of extra still here.
Right.
What else we got here?
I'll try to explain it before we see it. In this game, there's a glitch. If you die right before the stage is about to end, the guy in the chat mentioned it. It's a prickly angler. I think we call it like the double KO glitch.
Mm-hmm.
If you die right before you would lose control of the ship, like when it goes up the screen and then leaves for the next stage, the player ship will die. It will drop bombs and item pickups like it would when you would die normally, but it doesn't actually subtract any resources. You don't actually lose an extent, and your bombs don't reset. So when you pick up those items, then back again, they give you the point value for picking up them at max. So it's 10k per bomb and 4k per power-up item. So if you line yourself up so that when you die, the power-ups will be on the exact position when your ship respawns and goes up the screen, you can pick up those items and get a nice bit of score added to your score. You do have to subtract
very cool.
You do have to subtract the amount of points you get from killing the boss, because you do still lose out on that from the timeout. So that's why you only see this trick being used in the early stages, when the boss only give 10k points for destruction. So the glitch is worth doing, basically, because if they are worth more, like 30 or 50k, then the glitch isn't worth anymore, because you lose out on more points than you would get from just killing the boss. So strategies have been found for this on 4 stages. We can watch the video now. I think it's 5 minutes.
Cool. Yeah, you put together a little compilation video of the suicide strat. So this is from a video done at Stunfest. And who's the player again?
Also Y.Saito.
Oh, it is Y.Saito. Okay, nice, perfect. All right, I'll count us in. 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, so I'm showing the full boss because there's a bit of context here. But you see how this boss is like on the railway tracks? It's gonna switch lanes now, but this means the boss isn't perfectly like central to the screen anymore. So he waits a little bit, and then when it goes back to the middle, he kills it. He waits a little bit. This makes the setup a bit easier to do. Now he has to wait until it's about to time out. He's gonna just do it normally here. But the usual way of setting this glitch up is you're either at the top left or the bottom left of the screen when you die. This is the only one we have for loop 1, because usually there aren't any bullets on screen when the window of opportunity is open for you to kill yourself right before you lose control. Like you usually use the suicide bullets from the Zako. But here, people have found that if you just sit right here, tap down, and kill just at the end of the time, you're just in the right window to actually get it. So that's worth 8,000 points because you don't have 7 bombs. If you die with 7 bombs in stock, you drop 2 when you die, and if you die with 4 bombs in stock, you drop 1. It's a little bit of if you die with 9 bombs in stock, the game basically pities you and gives you 2 extra.
That's cool.
To make up. Yeah, it's a little bit of a pity system, basically. Like, oh, we don't want you to lose that much on just this dumb death. We'll give you some. I think that's the reason, the logic behind it. But right now we're looking at 2-1. This is where the first one we'll see that he actually uses the suicide bullets, and where he gets 2 bombs from dying and picking up the extra items. And you mentioned it, this is from Stunfest. It's the same, like the player is the same one from the replay we just saw. He was the world record holder for forever. And he was invited, I think Plasmo said he invited him for this. And he did 2 runs, actually, for Stunfest. In both runs he did die once, so he wanted to do it again, I think, the next day. But it gave me a bit of some footage. So he kills the enemy right on time to get that. He missed 1 bomb, sadly.
That's very interesting.
But yeah, you have to. This is why it's much easier to do on the second loop and with the ship, because this ship, if you just press the button, immediately you'll kill the enemy and a suicide bolt will come to you. Some of the other ships, it's a massive pain in the ass to actually set up this glitch and kill like a Zako just in time.
Yeah, I could see how this is easier.
I think this is also why this ship was so popular. The overall world record with this ship is still by far the highest, like 50k higher than second place, and that one is like 50k higher than the one before, and 50k higher than the one before that. So this one is like definitely the most popular. Maybe I think the score potential of some of the others are higher, but most people just prefer playing this one because it's a lot easier to do this one trick here. I should have mentioned here, this boss does like an impossible pattern on the last phase here if it stays on screen for too long. That's why during the first phase he kept it alive for a bit longer, because the bosses don't work. They work on a global timeout basically. Like as soon as the boss spawned, there was like a timeout that was going to happen. So he makes the first phase last a little bit longer, so the second phase doesn't have like this. It won't be able to do its like ridiculous attack. Basically, it won't get to it. It will time out before it happens.
Very clever. Yeah,
it's very clever. Yeah. Again, we get to see my least favorite boss in this game. It's this one. He has no problem with it. Fucking destroys it actually. No miss, no bomb. But it's largely the same one we saw before. But again, just a lot more sophisticated. This guy, I guess I should mention it now that we've got a little bit of time. Like this guy still plays the game today, like Y.Saito. He's been playing it since like the game came out, and he's still active. In fact, he got a world record 2 days ago in this game. Again, the same ship. It's now the world record now sits like 3,500,066k, and I think it's asked to be like one of the most optimized world records in Shmup history. I don't think I'm over exaggerating by saying that. It's we don't have a replay for it, sadly. This is the last replay we saw of him, but I hope he like right there he sits at the top of the screen to kill himself in the end.
Gotcha.
That's the replay. I do hope he considers uploading some of his stuff. Like there is a lot of competition for this game, so I understand he maybe is a little bit precious for his strats right now. Or maybe he just doesn't have footage. I don't know what arcade he plays at. There's a couple of arcades where I've heard you're not allowed to just share your replays with everyone. You can share it with like friends or something, but not, not
like
upload it.
Ebison.
Yeah, Ebison, something like that. I don't know where he actually plays nowadays, but
very
he's
cool.
Still active, still playing. At some point, there's a video of a 3.5 million replay by WC, who's the Chinese player, also very, very strong. I think he I don't know if he had a world record for Strikers 99, but he had a world record for Strikers 1, Strikers Plus, this game. He was the one I mentioned during the pre-show talk. Like some guy recorded like he basically used his mobile phone to like record his run over his shoulder when he started like getting a really good pace in the middle of like loop 1, and basically recorded the rest of the replay. So there is that's the current highest scoring replay out there. It's really not the quality wasn't nearly good enough to show on this episode, but that run uses all of the suicide strategies, all of the things we saw before in one like neat run. If you want to watch that, if you can. If you like that kind of video where it's just a guy recording someone's cabinet basically, but it is out there if you're interested. But it wasn't good enough for this episode, I'm afraid. If you actually look at it,
yeah,
not even with today's high-tech phone cameras.
No, he doesn't have a stabilizer. It's really shaky.
Yeah, like it's constantly shaking for the entire run.
Oh,
yeah. The picture's pretty far away.
It's like when I say over his shoulder, I think I meant it quite literally. Like it literally looks like it's like a side view basically of him.
yeah.
But, it's a very like a valuable replay. Like it basically confirmed that there isn't any like secret strategies anymore that we don't know about. We know that like the world record was set with just insane optimization from the strats that we do know. Like we know there's not like another like secret glitch that's like out there. It's just insane play by people who've been playing the game for like 25 years at this point.
Yeah, that Y.Saito Stunfest runs, I remember those being pretty impressive, so you can watch those too.
Yeah, I recommend those. Those were personally very motivational to me when I think that's the first time I watched like a super play of this game, and he made it look. This shows just how ignorant I was. I looked at that replay and was like, "Oh, he makes it look so easy. I bet I can do it."
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how you know you've like you're watching at a super play, because I realized very quickly just how difficult it was to actually perform what he did. But back when I was ignorant, I was like, "Well, this can't be too hard. Just look, he just goes here, does this, and then it's over." But that's how they get you, basically.
Yeah.
That's a nice thing with like super plays is like they always have that level of finesse that just like it's just another day for them.
Yeah.
with that run.
He does make it. It is literally just that. Yeah, he just goes up the stage, then he plays like a near perfect credit with like one mistake, and then the next day he's invited to do it again, and he basically does the exact same thing again, as if it was like a routine for him. I guess that's just go to show. But yeah, this game has a lot of different players, and we've been focusing on this guy just because he's like the world record holder, and we have a video of him. But there are very many active people on Twitter, on YouTube, posting replays of this game. So if you're looking for like, oh, what about this ship? Well, chances are there's like a really good replay of it somewhere. And if not, if you just want to learn something for survival, there's like 10 replays of people finding like really good strategies to make this game as simple as possible for people to get into. This, I hope what I showed today wasn't like off-putting for some people. Like, oh, this looks a bit too demanding or a bit too. What's the word? Daunting. Like, I'll probably never be good enough at this. Like most people, of course, aren't at playing at this level. They're just like. They are finessing their way through the second loop, and I think everybody who I've talked about really enjoyed it. So
yeah, I mean, it's not going to be for everybody. Like these Strikers games, even for me, it's just like the thing is, we talked about it. You have to memorize the boss patterns, like to a decent extent, so you know it's coming, and then you do the execution, which is like the next part, because generally the patterns are really fast, so then it requires you to execute. So like there's like that aspect of it, and if you don't like learning, memorization basically for that stuff, I mean, it might not be your thing. But I think once you do learn these patterns and stuff, and you do start dodging the really fast stuff, like you'll be able to see like why that's actually like fun and actually addicting to do.
Yeah, like I said, a very good word for it is addicting. Like watching something that completely destroyed you now suddenly poses no threat to you anymore. I think it's a very fun feeling that I don't get from a lot of other shmup companies. I'm not sure why. Maybe because those games are regardless of how much you play it. Like some cave games, you look at it and like this can't be easy even if you've done it like 1,000 times. But
I always think of like the. Go ahead.
This game gives you like a real feeling of like mastery when you've got it down, especially the first.
Yeah, I could see that. I always like, consider these Psikyo shmups like kind of in the Raiden style, but they just went a little bit faster with the bullets at times. And I don't know, when it comes to Dragon Blaze, that's kind of a different story because like there's bullets everywhere in that game. But
right, as someone mentioned earlier too, well, Psikyo was founded by Shin Nakamura, who formerly worked at Video System, worked on like the original Aero Fighters, which in itself was already a game kind of more focused on patterns that are like a little more dense, but also just faster bullets in general. So
yeah.
You kind of get to directly see how that lineage carries over to a lot of Psikyo's works, especially up to this point, even comparing from like their first games that they came out with, like Samurai Aces and Gunbird 1.
Yeah. Well, it's like there's really not much to complain about because it's like every shmup has memorization. It's just this game's stuff you gotta figure out.
You can't get around it. Like, I don't know if you guys ever played like Great Mahou Sakusen, like Daimahu. When you learn scoring for the game, it's like, oh, for this enemy, you have to use this level of charge, and you have to do it right here. Like, a lot of people find it off-putting because you basically have to know exactly what you need to do at the start. I don't mind it too much because I think it's fun, but...
And when you have like good resources and stuff, you can pick up on that stuff a lot faster and be on your way instead of like having to route out everything by yourself, which that's its own brand of fun too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's also another reason I wanted to do this episode. Like I said at the beginning, I hope that it makes it a little bit more enjoyable for people to learn. Like if I just explain what's happening instead of you just watching like a cult, but like really exactly like, oh, this guy, this video, let's see what it looks like, because I want to see more people play this stuff. I always like to help or give people tips like, oh, if you're doing this, maybe this would help better.
I did really enjoy that little chart of how the bullets work in Loop 2. That was really neat.
Yeah, I didn't know there was anything like I didn't know it was a system at all when I started playing. Like people just say, oh, it's random, but if you just like something happens at some point, like wait, if I do this, it always does this, and then I figured out, oh, there must be some kind of rule system for it. And I assume the other Psikyo games have something like that as well, but I have no idea how it works in some games. It feels a lot more erratic in some than others. Maybe someone will look into it at some point, but I was hoping this would be like the 2 tips I gave, right? Like if you kill something at the top, it will shoot away. If it's slightly below, it will shoot down. Like just knowing that bit means that you're not always afraid of shooting enemies. Like okay, if I shoot now, I'll be safe because it will just shoot away from me.
Right.
Like it's makes it a little bit more just less daunting. Like okay, well, I'm not always an immediate risk.
Well, that's the thing with these super plays. It's like it's not just like executing the really tough strats. It's doing everything like the easiest way possible at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So that you don't like overly tire yourself out or leave yourself prone to making more mistakes in a certain situation. If you just boil it down to the necessities, it's really that really helps a lot.
Yeah, exactly. So I hope it was for some people who might be learning it. I hope this episode was like useful in some way. And if not, I'm always like I'm always looking for Twitch streams of people playing these games, and not necessarily backseat because some people don't like it when you just tell them what to do. But if I see people struggle, I always try to be like, hey, have you considered doing this? And most of the time, people appreciate it when I try to help. So
it's crazy how much a small tip can go in a shmup, for example. So that is nice.
Yeah, a lot of people also like to figure this stuff out on their own. So I always try to see like, okay, would they appreciate it if I just told them how to do it, or should I just not say anything and let it watch out like how they figure it out? Because that's sometimes really fun too when you are stuck on something and then suddenly you come up with like a solution that just works perfectly for you at that point.
Yeah, for sure. it's like a topic that's been explored a bunch, but like first copying a replay too much or finding stuff on your own, it's just there can be a lot of fun from just experimenting by yourself, and you're gonna learn how the harder stuff works when you figure it out from the ground up. Is like basically the point I was gonna make.
Yeah, exactly. And some people just prefer playing completely without knowing something. Some people like me, I'm really not ashamed to just look up stuff from people who've done like the work before me, because while I like sometimes figuring out stuff on my own, I do also like just feeling like I'm kicking a game's ass essentially. Like you didn't expect that, right?
It's really just all about what you want to get out of it.
Exactly.
So if you can kind of figure out your game plan, just go have fun from there.
Yeah, whatever works best.
In any case, that was really fun. Thanks for coming on, Meriscan. That was really cool to hear about Strikers 2, and they know where to go. They know who to talk to now for some Strikers tips.
Yeah. If you like these, I always recommend the video index. It's a great resource for if you want to look at something like a different ship or a game or any playstyle. Like we've always got something basically for everyone.
The ShmupWiki is really awesome. Yeah, I do quite like it.
Like there's some real unsung heroes who just keep updating that stuff every time. Like sometimes I'll be like, oh, I can add this replay, and then someone else will have already done it like 2 weeks ago.
We'll have a link to that in the YouTube description for anybody who isn't aware. But yeah, it's kind of a newer resource for shmup stuff instead of like the Shmups forum, I guess, was the go-to before. But still Shmups forum, the strategy guide. It's pretty easy to find information there too, if you can't locate it on the ShmupWiki, which is like more focused, I would say. A more new focused effort. In any case, thank you everybody for coming by for episode 187 on Strikers 1945-2. And Maximo, any final words?
Play Psikyo today if you liked what you saw in this replay.
Those are some strong words to go out on. Okay, and thanks again, Meriscan, for coming on.
Yeah, always. It was a lot of fun.
Alright, till next time, everybody. Peace.
See y'all later. Next game.